Hello, this is Manish Patel from the EII Capital Group. Today is May 16, 2011. This is the Ichimoku analysis for the futures markets, where we cover everything from metals to commodities to heating oil to natural gas and so forth. Let's begin. This is our normal disclaimer to state this is for educational use only. All charts are in Thinkorswim, TradeStation, or freestockcharts.com. Here are my contact details. You can email me here, or you could follow us, go to access any of our free videos on ichimokutrade.com, or you can follow us on Twitter at Ichimoku Trading. Okay, let's begin. I know a lot of people are curious and see exactly where commodities are because they've been pulling back, going back and forth, and I think the major questions is silver. You're probably hearing a lot of things in the news where silver's trend is over, but let's determine that through the charts instead of basing on fundamentals and speculation out there. Okay, the first thing we're going to go through is cocoa futures. If you look at cocoa futures, remember, left-hand side is the weekly time frame, right-hand side is the daily. We're going to look at weekly, especially for commodities since they're very volatile, and you want to look at them more long-term than short-term. Okay? If you look at the weekly time frame, there's nothing really there, just consolidating back and forth. Everything's in conflict as far as Ichimoku indicators are concerned. The more it consolidates, the more it's becoming a little more to the bearish side, and you can see that from the daily time frame here. And you could see that here. If it breaks down below the 29th, this level here from the pivot, if it breaks below 29.26, this possibly can start a trend on the daily time frame, which will equate to a trend on the weekly too. And probably get all the way down to 2800 at least if it starts a trend on the daily time frame. So a little more tilted towards the bearish side than bullish at all for cocoa. Crude oil, if you look at it, it came all the way down. It's been holding our level here on the weekly time frame of 97.40. It really has yet to close below that at all. Right now, it looks like it's closing below that, but remember, this week just began and that bar is still active, so it's yet to close at all. But it is holding 97.40 very well, and we'll see by the end of this week what happens there. So the major support is going to be 97.40. And then the major resistance level is going to be 104.73. If you look at the daily time frame, you could see that if it breaks down below 95.32, this thing's going to enter a major pullback, which on the weekly time frame, which will equate to a trend on the daily time frame. So if it does start doing that, then this thing's going to go all the way probably down, back down. Believe it or not, closer to 80. But I think what it'll do is if it breaks down over here, at least get to 90 and kind of hold at 90, and then it'll wait and consolidate around there and then try to make a decision what it wants to do. But the key thing right now is, remember, on the weekly time frame, this 97.40 is holding, and we've got to wait to see exactly what's going to happen by the end of this week. This thing is still bullish trending, has yet to enter a major pullback. This week may signal the first major pullback we get in crude oil after a very, very long time. So it'll be interesting to see. Cotton, you could see, is entered a major pullback right now, which you could see from the daily time frame is bearish and entered a bearish trend. It's at a major support level right now as far as the daily is concerned, and you could see the little bounce up here and trying to get equalized here. If you look at this, you really the resistance levels you need to look at here are more towards about probably 165.42 will be the first area alert, and then maybe going above 178 for it to continue its trend to the top side. But cotton definitely looks like it's in a major pullback. US dollar index, you could see on the weekly time frame it's falling, pulling back. Its major resistance level is going to be at 77.24, and it looks like it's slowly getting there. If you look at the daily time frame here, you could see that basically it's still bearish because it's below the cloud, but it is trying to make a move upwards, and honestly in probably 2 or 3 days it's probably going to get a little more push to go up. But it may pull back a little in a day or two and then start going up. But this thing's very healthy to start making a move up, and the momentum indicator is actually starting to turn bullish, where it's been bearish completely. Right now it's consolidating, so it's key, especially if it pushes up 2 more points, and this thing's going to start flying back up and retesting the next major resistance level. Let's go look at the meat. futures, if you look at feeder cattle in the weekly time frame, you could see that it's getting top heavy, it's bullish trending, and it's trying to pull back. It's got to break below 128.30 to start pulling back, but it does look like from the daily time frame it possibly can. If it breaks below 130.51, it's going to go to 128.30 and then possibly break the 128.30 to start entering a major pullback, which is finally needed for feeder cattle. Lean hogs, same scenario. It's under a major. It's not major pullback yet. Bullish trending as far as the weekly time frame is concerned, but it really needs to break down. If it breaks below 91, it's going to go all the way to an 85.90, and it breaks that, then they're finally going to enter a major pullback as far as the weekly is concerned. But you got to wait and see what happens on this. If it goes above and breaks 97.17, then this bullish trend is going to continue to go forward, moving forward. But you could see lean hogs is a lot stronger than feeder cattle right now. Copper futures, if you look at the weekly time frame, we're finally entering a major pullback. How far this is going to go, you pretty much have to look at the daily time frame. Daily still very, very strong right now. It's really got to go above 1.1933 to even start looking for a bullish continuation pattern, but definitely not looking like that right now. It looks like it's going down. Next major support level, if you look at the weekly time frame, is going to be roughly around 3.684. Heating oil, you could see it's pulling back right now. It held the first time its major support on the weekly time frame at 2.779. If it breaks that level, then we're going to enter a major pullback finally. But if you look at the daily time frame, it looks like it's trying to swing towards that right now. So it definitely has to break below 2.779, and the daily is showing that there's a high possibility it's going to happen because momentum is shifting as far as daily is concerned to the bearish side. So it looks like a major pullback may happen on the heating oil finally, just like all the other commodities. If you look at coffee futures is still bullish, trending very heavily on the weekly time frame. A major support level is going to be at 253.95. If it breaks that, then it's going to enter a major pullback. If you look at the daily time frame right now, it got to the bottom of the cloud. It probably needs to move up a little. Once it moves up a little, and then it needs to go down and break 260. If it does, it'll start a trend on the daily, which will equate to going to retest the 253 and breaking through that on the weekly. Lumber, if you look at lumber here, it's bearish sentiment right now. Has not really started a trend as far as the weekly is concerned. If it breaks below 220, it will start a weekly trend possibly on the weekly time frame. You can see the huge movement down here. It's been consolidating here, and so it's kind of showing that it looks like it's trying to move up. So it's just consolidating right now at the bottom of the range. More it consolidates, the more chances it has of pulling back up and retesting 273 in the near future. Moving on, live cattle. Live cattle is breaking down into entering its major pullback. You could see from the weekly time frame, and you could already see that from the daily time frame too. It's already pretty much starting its move downwards. Okay. Nothing really much to talk about there. Natural gas, if you look at the weekly time frame, it's just consolidating back and forth, back and forth. However, notice one thing. The consolidation patterns are getting tighter and tighter and tighter as this is concerned. This thing's going to explode one way or another sooner or later, but this thing's getting tighter and tighter and tighter. So watch for it in probably about a month or two, and this thing may start breaking out as far as the weekly and starting a trend. Just wait and watch and see what happens from there. If you look at the daily, there's nothing really there, but just keep on watching this on a monthly basis, and you may start seeing a trend out there, which could be equate to some really good profit values. Orange juice, it was pulling back. Well, it's not pulling back, but it held the Cajuns in here. Got to its major support level last week, just kind of sitting there hanging around. The week before that, last week, it kind of pushed up, went and retested the resistance. This week is key, and see what happens. If you look here on the daily time frame, it really needs a minor pullback, which it looks like it's trying to get to do. If it could get down to 173.63, pull back to there, and then go up, it's going to get a lot of momentum to break this top. So the key thing is what's going to happen here. But as far as the weekly and the daily is concerned, it is bullish trending. Palladium, If you look at the weekly time frame, it's bullish trending for a while. It's finally entering a major pullback now. It's probably got about a week or two before it really gets momentum to the bearish side, if not this week. It's really got to break here below 695. If it does, this thing's probably going to go below to probably about 623 or 625 or so to the downside. So for a major pullback. So watch out for this one to pull back some majorly. Either this week or next week. Platinum, if you look at platinum, it's at its major support level right now. If it's got to break this level in order for it to sit there and start a trend as far as the daily is concerned here. If this breaks below 1740, look for a bearish trend on the daily, which will equate to a major pullback on the weekly, and it'll probably get all the way down to this level here, which is about 1657, about 100 pips, 100 points away. Gasoline, finally entering a major pullback. You could see it looks like it's trying to get to its major support on the weekly time frame, which is $2.75. It looks like it's going to get there, but it may not be smooth as it's been here. Reason why it's entered the cloud on the daily time frame. So expect maybe a little upward movement and then going down, but it would definitely looks like it's trying to venture down to get all the way down to $2.75. So watch for it. It may not happen this week, but it will probably happen in the next couple of weeks, because remember, this is a weekly time frame. Okay, so wait for it to get there, and then maybe look at buying gasoline going up, depending on what happens when it gets to that level. Sugar, nothing really there. If you look at the weekly time frame, it's breaking down. It's actually got a sentiment bearish, but the Ichimoku indicators are still in conflict, so it's still consolidating as far as the weekly is concerned. The daily, as you can see, is bearish here. Kind of overextended bearish now, needs a little pullback up. If this thing does start pulling back up, gets to the cloud and then bounces off that, that's going to set up the weekly to basically be bearish. So watch for that going forward. Now our magical question, silver, where do we stand? Silver still bullish trending, believe it or not. This is just a major pullback, and considering that these two indicators are still not flipped, that's still bullish signs there. It's holding the cloud right now. The Tinkin price are equalizing. So this week's really going to tell a picture as far as silver and what's going to happen. I still think it's going to get to $30 and then probably bounce off that and then start its trend backwards, upwards. But it's got to break $41.06 to start a trend on the daily time frame to the bullish side. Gold, let's go look at gold. Gold, if you look, it's still very strong on a weekly time frame. It's at a minor support level now. The major support level will be 1442, but the minor is holding up right now. But if you look at the daily time frame, it looks like it's sitting there trying to enter a major pullback as far as the daily is concerned. So it does look like maybe gold may come down to 1442 soon, but it's really got to start showing some signs. And the first level it's got to break is a support level on the daily, which is at 1478. If it breaks that, then it's going to go down to 1442 and then bounce off that. 30-year Treasury bonds, if you look at it, bullish trending, of course, on the daily time frame. We talked about this. It went all the way up. It broke for its resistance level, and now it looks like it's trying to get all the way here to 125.16, and that's going to be a key level to see what happens there. A lot of people looking at that because I believe that's close to 50% of Fibonacci too. So we'll have to see what happens there, but definitely on its way up. But it needs a pullback to the downside and then go up in order to start a bullish trend as far as the weekly is concerned, and that's not going to look like it'll happen in the next couple of days. It looks like a weekly, or maybe it'll take a couple of months to happen. Corn, if you look at corn, is basically bullish trending for a very long time, has yet to enter a major pullback. It's got to break below 645 to enter a major pullback. And that's going to be a key. Just sit there and watch it. If it breaks below that, then the corn is definitely going to start pulling back. Soybean. Look at soybean. It's kind of just hanging around here at the support level here at 13.15. Nothing really can be told here until it breaks below this 13.15. So if it breaks below 1300, it's going to be a major pullback in the weekly and start a trend on the daily. Okay. And lastly, wheat. Nothing really there if you could look at the daily and weekly. That's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll speak to you next week.